Morning, Ian.
Morning. How's it going?
It's going well. Got to drive in from the mountains again. It's now the sun isn't in my eyes anymore. It's still down by the time I get here, but the sunrise is incredible. And you drive
Oh,
across Sarcee coming in, and you get a view of downtown Calgary from an elevated view with just this beautiful sunrise. And like starting to love that part.
yeah. I'm up on the hill there too, so driving in quite often, same sort of thing, and you just get such a interesting array of sunrises. I've driven in from Canmore a bunch of times too, and even that drive, I find just like you get the mist in the grass, and sort of especially
Yeah,
the fall, the frost starts to come in there, and uh, it's pretty special.
yeah,
The
yeah. I
sun
thought
in
it.
the eyes is maybe less special, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the
No,
view is gorgeous.
for only a short period of the year, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I find it nice also to listen to podcasts. I feel like getting overwhelmed with information because I just listen to like 2 hours of podcasts every day, which is
Yeah.
which is great. But
It's kind of good. I know a lot of folks that have longer commutes. It's almost like you need a long commute so you can really absorb content like that. Or if
totally,
it's too short, then you can't really do anything in it. Yeah, I've heard
yeah.
that from a number of folks.
Some benefits to a commute
Of course.
for sure.
Not least of which is where you get to live.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly.
So
Yeah,
so I guess we want to do something a little different today, right? Like not
yeah,
newsworthy topics, but some reflective time.
yeah. Exactly.
Um,
I think it's important to reflect on specifically why we're in the energy space, our passion for energy. And I think we're really fortunate to work with a group of people that are passionate about energy, and you see it in the conversations that we have every day, like from people responding to cool things they've seen in the news like way after hours, but it's just because they're genuinely interested in it and know that everybody else is as well. And so I know we definitely both share that passion too. So
Yeah, I mean, in the environment we're in, I think that's such a good call out. I remember even when I joined the organization, doing research wasn't my first priority, but when I met the team, I had never met a group of people that were so engaged with what they did, top to bottom, person to person. And it was like, I have to be part of this team, even if it's for a short while. Like, it's not the work I want to do, but it's obviously the people. And
mhm,
13, 14 years later, here I am. And that's, I think, as true as ever.
yeah, absolutely.
So where do you want to start? I guess we were thinking just what is the maybe our personal motivators and things that get excited. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Let's start there. I mean, I'd love to hear what gets you motivated, and I can, riff on,
yeah.
some similarities there and go after.
I think the guy landed in energy partly by accident and just proximity, being growing up here in Calgary and being around energy in general. My dad was in the power industry. Obviously, oil and gas is heavy here. So coming back from university, it was sort of a natural place to be. I think the moment where I really realized how much I loved it though was probably when I went away to business school about 4 or 5 years into my career, and uh, it was at that moment you kind of encounter a lot of other industries and start to appreciate some of the things that I love about the industry. So one is it's such well connected into the geopolitical and the sort of the global landscape, right? There's nothing that happens in energy that doesn't touch every fabric of our life and the political economy, socially, et cetera. And so I love that connection with sort of the human existence, and it's hard to separate the two. So that was one. The second one that I think I fell in love with early was the uncertainty, and especially when you think about upstream and the subsurface, which I know you're passionate about, but it's just so hard to know until you drill the well or do the project how things are going to look. And so this opportunity to formulate a point of view that is maybe different from others and perhaps significantly different and be well rewarded or well punished for the results of that idea. And just it felt like such a wonderful industry where you could test those ideas, where there was space for that novel perspective. And in a lot of ways, that novel perspective was the unlock for value. And I just I didn't find, or I haven't encountered in our industry where that aperture is as wide, and so the ranges are as wide, and you get to call yourself a professional and navigate that that range um, for fun.
Yeah, you're being challenged too, it's
Yeah.
because it is so wide, but I think that's part of the fun.
How about you? Like, what's
Yeah, I mean, I think my story is probably really similar, growing up in Alberta, exposed to the oil and gas industry, but I think my passion, like, really started from a curiosity and, like, curiosity from a scientific perspective. My uncle was a geophysicist, he owned his own oil company. I was, like, 12 years old, and he brought me to one of his sites where they were actually drilling, and he was joking at the time, but he's like, hold your ear to the ground, you can hear the oil. And I don't know, there's just something, he always had such a passion for science and curiosity around oil and gas exploration, and that's really what drove me to the
Mhm.
industry. And ultimately I went to the University of Alberta and took geology, which just furthered that passion. But I don't think I had ever really connected it to energy. It was just more of a curiosity of exploration and uncovering, or at least initially finding the answer for something that is just so nebulous to begin with, and piecing together the puzzle, putting together the pieces of the puzzle for that. I think, like, my true passion and turning that into passion for energy came, a little bit later when I had started working for the Alberta Energy Regulator and got really interested in geothermal. I think that was my first real foray into a passion for energy and finding different ways to deliver it outside of oil and gas. And then subsequently through Inveris and just spending a lot more time learning about the energy system itself and reading books like, Vaclav Smil and his,
Yeah.
energy history, energy density, energy oil, listening to guys like Scott Tinker talk about, just the energy ecosystem and how it uplifts literally everybody. And that's really what I think has made me such, say, missionary for what we do in energy, and how far,
Yeah.
like you said, it, like, how wide a net it casts. But I think it goes beyond that. Like, there's a book by Steven Pinker called Enlightenment Now, and it doesn't
Mhm.
directly tie to energy, but it's a book that resonated with me because I think there's a lot of pessimism in the world for, everybody's like, oh, the world is such a bad place today. Like, everybody's, gravitating towards negative headlines. News tends to publish on negative headlines. But by, like, I forget how many metrics Steven Pinker puts together in his book, but it's like 27 different metrics that indicate that the quality of life now is better than it ever has been. And
Yeah.
he pins that into data. Like, everything has a chart associated with it, and it's like all of these factors are because we have more energy. We have more
Yeah.
access to cheap, reliable, affordable energy. And I mean, not everywhere in the world does, but everywhere in the world is starting to get more of that. Like life expectancy, health, wealth, prosperity. Like, the list goes on and on. Like, education, like, it all stems from energy. And uh, I'm I just feel so excited to help be a part of that and help people make
Yeah.
more sense of that system. So, like, yeah, I think foundation in science, but increasingly just passionate about just how much of the world this industry. I mean, it touches everything. It's the foundation for everything. Actually, as a geologist, I can't say it's the foundation. The Earth is the foundation of everything, but energy comes second.
I mean, the Earth is just energy.
Yeah, well, I mean, matter
Yeah.
is energy, so I guess there you go.
Yeah. I guess a couple things I'd riff off of that is one is I think the experience with explorationists, and you talk about your, I think you said your uncle or grandfather,
Yeah, uncle. Yeah,
right? And I just remember like early like exploration geology courses, and this sort of old boy guys that were prospecting and trying to sell their prospects, and just this comment has always stuck with me is like the best part about a dry hole So like a failed well is that
Yeah.
you get two more prospects because you take an anticline and you find a dry hole in the middle. You now you got two more anticlines, right? So, but like just so the optimism of that and the value of
Yeah.
information that's imbued and so that commentary and so many problems, just in terms of business and uh, just growth, I think, are around these sort of grappling with uncertainty. And so that mindset, whether it was applied to geology or technology or whatever we're trying to work on, it, I've always sort of had that idea and that moment stuck in my head. Um, I think the other one I was like, just sort of reflecting on your comments, like you're it sounds like you're quite excited about like the contributions energy makes. And I think I would agree with that, but I come at it from the other side of like, I'm really excited about the things we can do
Hmm.
because of it. I know the results are the same, but I actually don't spend a lot of time thinking about all the goodness that energy provides. I think about like the really cool opportunities that um, new technologies like AI are unlocking, or the business we can build around it, or right. And the net result is that progress and that growth. But it's just kind of interesting. Like we can, I think a lot of people can find reasons to be passionate for the same outcomes, but for like very different sort of arguments.
Totally. Yeah. And I would agree. I'm also incredibly passionate about the things that we can do with
Mm,
it. Um, you know, and just seeing what people are doing with it to innovate, and the creativity that's coming out of the space to unlock more energy, with the tools and the skill sets that we have. And I think that's particularly why I love a lot of the subsurface innovation components that I cover. It's
yeah.
utilizing skill sets that I'm very familiar with, and just seeing how they're all being leveraged in such creative ways to deliver on these projects that a lot of them will fail, but those failures are just innovation, and that's going to lead to some incredible success. And that's another thing I
Mhm.
love about the industry. It's like there's such an encouragement to innovate, to unlock more energy, to build different types of energy, and that leads to failure, but to a lot of really cool ideas. And I think that reciprocates in the work that we do, where we're encouraged to fail quickly, to innovate,
Yeah.
to help people solve these problems as well, right? And I love that mentality. Like, don't be afraid to fail, because failure leads to innovation. Though kind of getting out of energy here a little bit, but some
Yeah.
some philosophy behind it.
No, I mean, it echoes, right? Like the appetite for risk and
The
so many
appetite for
varieties and
risk
varieties. Yeah.
is really what I didn't conceptualize until later as well. Just the amount of money being spent on projects. And I mean, you just go back to the oil and gas space, the amount of money spent on exploration
Hmm.
is in, in, insane. You would think it's insane, right?
Hmm. I mean, even on that theme, I remember one of my early managers or bosses, and I was leaving to go to business school and just asked for some advice. And I was like 27 years old, drilling a bunch of wells and stuff like that. And he's like, "You got to be more aggressive," and which kind of blew me away because I thought I was being really aggressive and literally terrifying myself with the things that we were putting forward and pushing. And his whole life was like, "No, you got to push even further, right? Like test these ideas." And um, you know, the old adage, you don't find any oil if you don't drill any wells. Like you gotta, that mentality I think has stuck with me. And I think as time goes on and as you move into other parts of the industry, and obviously our business is a little bit different than pure exploration, um, it's harder and harder to like still live up to that pure explorationist mentality, but it stood me in good stead.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad I had that foundation, oil and gas space.
Yeah,
Always the lessons I learned there will always carry forward with me.
no kidding.
Yeah,
Cool. Well, there's lots in that.
yeah. I mean,
I don't.
it's cool to bring this back to something that's sort of foundational for what we do. I mean, we talk about news all the time, but I think it's good to reflect on why we do what we do, because I can see the passion in you
Yeah, it's
every
it's super
day,
fun, and we get to
and the
hang
people
out
we work
and
with. Yeah,
um, so. Maybe we leave it there, but I guess as we go on, like, we should try and find some more of these reflective moments of things that remember. Like I don't know, we both have stories that will get sort of surface through time and
For sure.
people we
Yeah,
meet. So cool.
absolutely. Yeah, curious anybody else that's watching, you know, leave in the comments why you're passionate about energy. I'd love to hear your story. And again, thanks for watching. And Ian, always a pleasure.
Yeah, you too, Jan. Always good. Talk soon, man.
Yeah. See ya.